In the last video, I was talking about why silent prayer is important, and now we're going to actually learn how to put it into practice. The first thing you'll need to do is gather a few materials. Two things are really handy. One, a stopwatch of some sort, just on your phone would be fine, or on your watch or whatever. And the other is a candle. And what you want to do is set your timer. And I would give, if silent prayer is something that's new for you, I would give about 5 minutes to start. As you begin to learn this practice and get used to it, you might extend that as you go along, but let's start with 5 minutes. And after you set your timer, I want to invite you to light a candle, and a candle can serve as a sign of God's presence. And as you light your candle, you simply say something like this to remind you why you're lighting the candle. And you can say, I light this candle by faith, knowing that God who loves me is closer than the air I breathe. And as you continue through silent prayer, if you feel disconnected from God or you forget why you're doing it, and just glance at the candle and remember that that candle's a symbol of God's Spirit with you. The second thing that you want to do is silence all inner and outer distractions. Now, of course, those outer distractions like buzzes and beeps from your phone, you probably want to have done that ahead of time. If you haven't, go ahead and do that at this point. But you're also, probably the bigger work is to silence the inner distractions. Now, previously in this series, we talked about tools for wandering minds when stray thoughts enter your prayers, and you can use those during this time of silence. And really what you're attempting to do is to hold yourself open to God's presence. And this is really the deepest struggle in silent prayer. Silent prayer is something that I try to practice most days. And for me, it's really allowing my heart and my mind to remain open and listening to God, and not allowing other thoughts, my agenda, my calendar, my to-do list, my worries, my fears, my just random thoughts that come up, not allowing those things to intrude upon that time of silence, but to clear my heart and to clear my mind and listen for God's Spirit. The third thing is simply in that silence, as you hold yourself open to God's presence, simply invite God to speak to you, to commune with you, to search your heart. And the refrain of the psalmist in Psalm 139 at the end of the psalm is a good one to use as a mantra or a refrain as you go into this time of silence. And you can repeat it to help you stay connected with the purpose for silent prayer. You don't want to repeat it so often that it distracts you from listening to God, but what you can come back to is just simply inviting God to search you and to know your inmost heart, to test you and reveal the well-worn paths of your thoughts, to see if there's any harmful way in you and to lead you in the way of everlasting. That's really what you're inviting God to do in this moment of silent prayer. Now, the good news is that eventually your timer will go off. Whether you succeeded in holding yourself open to God or not, whether you heard anything from God in your spirit or not, this is a practice that keeps you open to that. And what I find is that more times than not, you can hear from God. Maybe it's not in words, maybe it's just a sense or a sentiment, maybe it's just a sense that God is with you. Other times you might hear something you didn't expect to hear, or sometimes you might hear exactly what you need to hear with the things that you're dealing with. But the practice of silent prayer is all about opening yourself to what God might want to tell you. And I hope that as you practice silent prayer, you'll discover the joy of communion with God and hearing from Him in your daily life.